Hello, welcome to the Homeschool Solutions Show. My name is Sean Allen, and I am one of the many hosts here on the podcast. Since you're listening to this, I'm guessing you already know that homeschooling is both incredibly challenging and incredibly beautiful. Every week, we're here to wing a little guidance, some helpful counsel, and a whole lot of encouragement your way as you navigate this busy yet blessed journey of educating your children at home. Now, even though the show is called Homeschool Solutions, it should come as no surprise to you that we do not have the answer to every homeschool-related question. But if you come away with nothing else, our hope is that today's episode will point you to Jesus Christ and that you will seek His counsel as you train your children in the way they should go. Hello, everyone. Hope you're having a good day. Thank you for joining me today. Today I wanted to talk to you about your relationship with your spouse, because in all of these episodes that I'm recording now, talking about we've talked about singing in your home, we've talked about family devotions, we're talking about talking to your children. These are all very, very critical issues, very important. And if you do them right and you commit yourself to them, they can have such a profound effect on the welfare of your home. Just try it. Just try it. I dare you. I dare you to do this stuff. Just wait and see. See what happens. And you think, oh, okay, singing, okay, devotions. I mean, you think you can do with or without it, but you can't. You can. You can, but you are missing out. You're really missing out. And talking to your children, you think you know, you think you've got it figured out, and then you talk to your children or you allow them to talk to you, and you're like, whoa. I didn't know that they were thinking about that. I didn't know that they had that hope or that they're dreaming about that. I didn't know that there were so many beautiful things in this heart of my child. I didn't know that there were also these struggles. It's a little scary. It seems a little soon, that sort of stuff. All of these things are so important. And they're important for you, whether I'm talking to the mother or to the father, and they're important for your spouse. And if you can do without this, but just as it is with, refusing to sing in your home or refusing to have consistent family devotions or refusing to take the opportunity to talk to your child as much as possible, if you refuse to work together as one man, so to speak, as one unit, you are missing out. Your children are missing out, and they'll suffer. They'll stumble. They'll be negatively affected to that direct degree. I've met so many couples who, one of them is engaged in this process, and they want, they see what needs to happen, and they're doing what they can, and then the other one's just not on board. They come to the conference and they take in the sessions, and they're like, oh, I wish my wife was here to hear this. I wish my husband. Actually, that's what I hear the most is I wish my husband was here to hear this, because he has different thoughts about this and he doesn't necessarily agree. And that's rough. That's rough. But at least there's one in the home. But of course you're hindered. You're hampered by the fact that you're divided against yourself in some respects. And there are some issues where it's like you're at loggerheads and the child is in the balance. And, it's anybody's guess as to who is going to get the upper hand, but it's the conflict. It's the very painful degree of disagreement that exists, and the way in which that manifests itself in the home that is let alone the fact that you can't move forward on that issue because there is a disagreement, but it's the nature of the disagreement itself, the way in which you carry that out, that is also like it's a double negative in the life of your child. So it's so important that you all get together on the same page as much as possible. And so as you need to talk to your child, you need to talk to each other. You've got to talk to each other. Take some time to talk. Now, you can do too much of this, and I've been guilty of this. Sometimes when Caroline and I will go out, and it's been a while, and we get on the road, and it's almost like instantaneous, and we're talking about the children. Well, this is happening, and that's happening. They did this, and they said that. And, my poor wife, sometimes she's like, you know what, can we not talk about this right now? Can we talk about something else other than the children? And because I'm over there just like blah, 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 blah. And I totally understand. I totally get that. But that just means that that's just a sign that you're inconsistent with probably date nights. You're inconsistent with those. There needs to be a time set apart. And there need to, just as it is with devotions, there needs to be a time limit. You can't go on and on and on about it. It's like you need to assess the situation. You can discuss it, and then you devise a plan of action, and then you go to it. But it is important that you be on the same page, that you're not sending mixed messages. And again, I've seen this so many times. It's apparent that I've even talked to women who are just like, I want to bring him home, but my husband doesn't think I can, and I'm here to, not to prove him wrong, but to kind of research and do my due diligence and bring a report back home, and then we're going to make the decision. It's like, well, you're divided on that, aren't you? But he's trying to come around. But what in that situation, like the mother could not homeschool because there was not agreement on that issue. So when you talk, you can compare notes, can't you? Because you're with your children at different times and in different circumstances, and they relate to you in different ways. I've noticed this when I talk to my wife about our children, is that she'll tell me like, well, so and so told me this the other day, and I was like, really? Well, they didn't tell me. It's like, well, that's because that's their mother, and so on that particular topic, they feel more comfortable in sharing that information or what have you. For whatever reason, and vice versa. It's gone the other way as well. It's like, well, I heard this the other day from our son. And she's like, okay, where did that come from? And my older children in particular, I mean, they've admitted as much. It's like, well, we talk to you in one way, Dad, and we talk to Mom in another, because that's just the way it is. And that's totally understandable. It's perfectly fine. There are some subjects I don't even want to talk about with my children. I'm like, go talk to your mother. And she's the same way. She's like, I don't want to deal with this. You deal with this, Sean. I'm like, okay, I will. And that's just the way it is. You're two different people, but we're united in our objectives. That's important. And that's one thing that I'm so thankful for with in my relationship with my wife, is that we set that down early, like from day one. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And we were just like, and a lot of it was her teaching me, frankly, in those early days, because she kept bringing all of these crazy, wild ideas. I don't call them that now, but to me, at that point in time, I was just like, huh, where did this come from? Never thought of that before. And okay, and it was just like one thing after the other. And I was like, okay, more than 2 children? Okay. Schooling at home? Okay. All these things, like one thing after the other. And it was like drinking from a fire hose. But she was testing me. And it wasn't, and she's very discerning. So it would have been, if I would have been like, okay, whatever you want, as in, I just want to be with you sort of thing, you can have it your way. Well, she wouldn't have accepted that. Like she could tell whether or not it was really in my heart. And I think she could tell I was genuine. Like, wow, I love that. Let's do that. And so, it needs to be that way with you as much as possible. And if it's not, you need to try to plumb those depths and examine the reasons why. Like, why aren't we on the same page with this? And a lot of it's going to have to do with your personality. Men sometimes they're very short with their patience, and they got a lot of things on their mind, and they've got, they have their job and their mission and their the responsibilities that are unique to them. It's like, I can only do so much, and so that's your job. It's your job to talk to them and to counsel them. It's like, no, there's some areas that your wife can't get to. It's like scaling a mountain. And that really is representative of your child's heart. It's like it's a great, big, grand, high, and precipitous thing. And it takes more than one person to scale it. And so she's like, there's this rocky ridge, and it was kind of, the ground was kind of loose under my feet, and I wasn't tall enough to reach this one space. Like, you're gonna have to do it. It's kind of like that. And so it's not something where you're gonna pass off to your wife or pass off to your husband, because your children think that he's cooler or that he's more relatable or whatever. Like, no, there are some areas, like there's some crevasses, or there's some spaces that are a little tighter or take a little more subtlety, or I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? There's just a different tactility to that endeavor, and so and only your wife can get into that spot, and you need both of you together to scale that mountain. And then you come together. You're like, well, what did you see? What did you observe? And that's going to help you, isn't it? The next time, see, because it's funny. I mean, your children know probably that you're talking, but they don't know when, they don't know how often, and they don't know the nature of the conversation. But you all, it's not conspiring. It's not like that at all. But they might view it that way, because you all are coming together like, what did you see? What did you hear? It's like, well, I saw this, I heard this. Interesting, okay. And then the next time you get an opportunity alone with your children, you come equipped with that information. That just helps you in reasoning with them, and leveling with them, and all these different things. You don't have to let on like, well, mom told me this. You can if you want, but it just helps both of you, because you both want the same thing. You want your children to go far. You want them to realize their full potential, as it relates to the will of God. And so that's so important. Don't cut this out. Do not sidestep this. Take those opportunities to sit down. And by the way, it's an excellent excuse for you two to go out and just have a date, right? I would not recommend that you do this in front of your children. Do not talk about your children in front of your children. We've been guilty of that in the past. It's hard for us sometimes because you have so many children. There's always a child somewhere. We always say there's 3 children right around the corner. And it's true. We have days where you're like, okay, I'm going to go to my room. Oh, there's 2 children there. Okay, I'm going to go to their room. Oh, there's a child in there. I'm going to go outside in my van. I open the sliding door. There's a child in there. It's just like that. It's so funny. And I'm not complaining, because I think it's wonderful. But there's times when you need to step aside. And so I wouldn't recommend doing this in front of your children. There might be times when you need to sit down with them together. You've had a conversation, you understand each other, you think you know the way in which this needs to be handled, and you bring the child into the room, and you're going to talk to them together as a couple. Or maybe it's decided that it just needs to be mom, or it just needs to be dad, for whatever reason. There's all kinds of different reasons for that, but you're never really going to know unless the two of you don't get together, have a conversation, and compare notes. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this you can do too much of this, because I can go on and on and on and on, because I'm always trying to observe, and I find it fascinating. And I'm not saying that Caroline doesn't, but she's more of a okay, this is what we're dealing with. All right, go team. Sort of thing. Like, we don't have to analyze this thing to death. And I think there's positives and negatives to both approaches. Sometimes you can get a little too simplistic, and then there are other like nuanced considerations that you need to be aware of. And then also, of course, you can analyze the thing to death, and it becomes kind of paralyzing, and you're not taking the necessary action to tend to the whatever the issue is that you're dealing with. So that's why you're a couple. That's why you're different. So you've probably got the analyzer, and you've probably got the action person. You need both. You need the analysis, and you need the action. You've probably got you've got the right-sided, left-sided parent. You've got the well, he or she needs correction. He or she needs justice. They need to feel the pain of what they've done. And then you've got the other who's like, well, let's give them more time. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt. And I don't know. I don't really want to discourage them. And it seems like you're pulling 2 different directions. And you may be pulling 2 different directions, but in reality, you need both of those approaches. And hopefully, instead of pulling away from each other, you're pulling inward. You're pulling each other to the center, because you need both perspectives. And hopefully you can respect and honor both perspectives. someone says, you know what, they've been getting away with this for weeks now and you didn't know it, and I think it's high time that there be some correction. And they're like, oh, well, I wasn't aware of that. I think you're right. I respect your decision, or vice versa. It's very, very important. So consider both sides, because there are two sides, and the reason why there's two sides is that helps. It's intended to balance each respective side out. If you were both exclusively right-sided, I've seen that on rare occasions, but it is not pretty. It's not pretty, and it's not good for your children. Or if you were both left-sided, oof, that's also not. It's equally not pretty. But usually that's not the case. You've got differences, and the differences are what actually prove to be your strength as a couple. And those differences were brought together because God knew that your children would be the most benefited by them. And you don't want to be disrespectful to the other side, like, oh, you don't respect me, you don't think you don't like the way that I approach this, you don't like the way that I assess these situations, you think I'm too harsh, or you think I'm too soft, or whatever. Like, no. No, God wants you to love and to respect one another, and to consider the thoughts and the perspectives and the intuitions that you both uniquely possess. So that's enough for now. So get together, talk it over, compare notes, and then, raise your children accordingly. It's such a blessing that God has provided these helps to us. He provides them for a reason, because he loves our children so very, very, very much. So thank you again. God bless you all, and we will talk to you again very soon. Bye for now. Thank you for joining us this week on the Homeschool Solutions Show. You can find show notes and links to all the resources mentioned at homeschooling.mom. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the podcast. And while you're there, leave us a review. Tell us what you love about the show. This will help other homeschooling parents like you get connected to our community. And finally, tag us on Instagram at homeschooling.mom. That's homeschooling, D-O-T, mom, to let us know what you thought of today's episode.